Garrett via Facebook has air ride questions. Is it worth it on an R? Not going to track it, spirited driving sometimes on curvy roads. Manual air with performance series. I know nothing about air, so help me out if you have any experience. Thanks. P.S. I live in New Jersey and our winters are sometimes brutal. Anything you guys can tell me about temperatures from 30 degrees Fahrenheit and lower?
Garrett, so air ride on an R, or really any car in general, is it worth it? It really depends on what your goals are. If you want air because you want to be able to lay your car out when you park it, or just ride low in general, then air is a great option for you. Keep in mind, air is an expensive choice, so if you're comparing air versus coilovers, you have to really want the adjustability to get the return, and that's really a personal preference. Now, when it comes to doing a manual setup, you have to run lines from each air bag into the car. The air lines actually run to a manifold that sits in the car where the actual switches are. That is a challenge a lot of times depending on the amount of space you have and the fact that you can't kink those lines very hard, so they have to have smooth bends. So it really limits your location as well as makes the install significantly more difficult based on the fact that you have to run 8 lines from the outside of the vehicle inside the vehicle. Actually, Max here, he does a lot with air, so he has a lot of information on that. What he recommended is if you go to another setup that basically uses a manifold that allows you to have a manifold outside the car but electronic switches inside the car, that is your best option because it gives you the ease of not having to run all those lines inside the car, but you still have a less expensive setup than some of those top tier setups to make it more affordable. The next thing is for cold weather, air is something that Max mentioned, that there is a inline setup that's basically a water trap that you would want to drain. Now, some kits are going to come with that and some kits are not, so you're going to want to make sure that if you get an air setup and when you're in those cold climates that you get one that has that air trap or add it on there, and then make sure that you drain that periodically because you don't want water in your air lines because it could freeze and cause you some issues through the winter.